Okay, somebody's gonna have to leave the room and make sure we have a sound check. Can you do that? Just to make sure the sound is actually working? Like I said it was going to. Miss Charlie? Miss Charlie, you can't sit with Sissy. You can sit with Papa. You can sit with Auntie Alicia. You can sit with Auntie Janet. You can sit with Auntie Priscilla, but you can't sit with Sissy. Okay, or you can come here. You want to come with me? Okay, well, that's fine. You have to be quiet because you can't sit with Sissy. Okay, right, you can inside the legs. No picking, no picking. Oh, yep, I can hear that whole conversation. Okay, well then the mic is working and so is the camera. Okay, we're good. Welcome to Live Home Fellowship. No picking. Okay, who are you going to sit with? You going to sit with Auntie Priscilla? Oh, that's cute. That's cute. Where are you going to go? Where are you going to go? Okay, can you not pull? Where are you going to go? Okay, can you not pull my ear? Thank you. All right. Be here with me for right now. Oh, you're going to go with Papa Al? That's a good choice. All right. You want me to put you down so you can go see Papa Al? Okay. All right. There you go. Go that way. That way. We're going to go to Acts 10 and Acts 11. Just a reminder of where we were last week, since last week's the sound didn't work. I apologize. Don't know exactly what happened, but it didn't work. So take a breath. Okay. We talked about Saul's transformation. We talked about him being on the road to Damascus, and my version of how he got clobbered by a 4x4, got knocked off his horse. He saw the light, okay? Blinded for a few days, and had an encounter with Yeshua. And I shared with you that there's a gap in 9 where it says at some point, sometime later he went to Jerusalem. But in between, he actually went down to Saudi Arabia, to the Mount of God. Okay? He went there first, then he went back to Damascus, then he went to Jerusalem. All right? So that got missed last week. It wasn't on here, so I'm just kind of filling in. And then it jumped to Peter, and it jumped to Tabitha, right? And it jumped to Peter being in Jaffa. And so see the map? Can you all see the map? Can't see the map here. The Mediterranean. I mean, look, Israel's on the Mediterranean. Okay? All right. So the Great Sea, when you read the Great Sea, it means the Mediterranean. Right? The Salt Sea would be the Dead Sea. Tiberias or Galilee would be Galilee. All right? Okay. All right, so let's pick it up there, and we'll go to, we'll see what happens with Peter. Oh, the other thing we talked about was soul, spirit, and flesh. Okay, so we'll continue, I'll continue to highlight those as we come across that. Okay. All right, chapter 10, verse 1. There was a man in Caesarea named Cornelius. Cornelius is a Latin name, okay? If you didn't put your finger in your eye, it wouldn't hurt. There you go. There was a man in Caesarea. So Caesarea is above Tel Aviv, okay? And it's below, above Netanya, so it's on the coast, okay? Caesarea. It's a Roman, there's an actual Roman compound there, okay? All right. And Cornelius, a Roman officer, he's a centurion, in what was called the Italian regiment. He's actually Italian, okay? So not all Roman soldiers are Roman. Not all Roman soldiers are Italian. Okay, excuse me. You don't want to? Okay, here we go. Um, he was a devout man, a God-fearer. Wait a minute. He's not Jewish. And even worse than that, he's a Roman soldier. And he's a devout man, a God-fearer. Okay, so do you know what a God-fearer is in the first century? Actually, even before the first century. A God-fearer is someone who is a Gentile, who is not Jewish, but they're going to follow the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob without converting to Judaism. Okay? There are converts because Ruth, your people will be my people. Where you go, I will go. Okay, you can convert as a non-Jew into Judaism. Okay, conversion. You can convert, become a Jewish believer. Okay, he did not. He remained Roman. He did not convert to Judaism, but he is a God-fearer. Okay, that it's very, very, very close. He still believes and follows the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, just without converting into Judaism. Okay, because conversion into Judaism requires adherence to not just God's law, but man-made rules. Okay, so if you wonder, well, what's the difference? Why wouldn't you? Because there's physical things that entail, and a Roman soldier might not want to do that. Just saying. Okay. He was a devout man, a God-fearer, as was his whole household. He gave generously to help the Jewish poor and prayed regularly to God. Wait a minute. God can hear. Wait a minute. Prayed regularly to God. I have told you, I don't know how many times, Jewish people today, without knowing Yeshua, can pray and be heard. Anybody can pray to God and be heard without knowing Yeshua. A contrite heart. If you call out in sincerity, God is big enough to hear that and to know it and to discern it and to hear you. Okay? Okay. So, and again I say, if there are people out there that are calling on the name of, that are calling upon the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and they don't know Yeshua yet, you think that he's not going to hear them? He's not going to honor their requests, and he's not going to reveal Yeshua to them? I think he is. I think he will. Okay? All right. He was a devout man, a God-fearer, as was his whole household. He gave generously to help the Jewish poor and prayed regularly to God. One afternoon around 3 o'clock, is that a significant time? Yeah, it's time of the Minyan prayers. It's time of the afternoon prayer, the afternoon sacrifice, okay? And he saw clearly in a vision an angel of God coming in and saying to him, Cornelius. And Cornelius stared at the angel, terrified. Okay, he's a Roman centurion. There's not a whole lot that's going to scare this dude, okay? And he's like, right? Okay. How he describes him later is quite telling, so we'll get there. So Cornelius stared at the angel, terrified. What is it, sir? He asked. He knows this is not normal. This is out of the ordinary. He describes him later as a man dressed brilliantly or brilliantly in light, okay? So he knows that this is an angelic being, or a heavenly being. So he said, the angel, your prayers, replied the angel, and your acts of charity have gone up to God's presence so that he has you on his mind. What is my favorite verse in Micah? Right there, that one. What does the Lord require of you? But to act justly, love what? Mercy, and walk humbly with your God. That's what Cornelius is doing. Do you need to come up here with me? Shh. Okay. He says, your acts of charity have gone up into God's presence so that he has you on his mind. You know, that's the way you want to be on God's mind, huh? Not the what I prayed earlier. Hunt him down. He disciplines those he loves. um, so it's he had him on his mind. He's abiding. Now send some men to Yaffo to bring back a man named Shimon, also called Kepha, Peter. He's staying with Shimon. There's a lot of Shimons. Remember I talked about that last week? The leather tanner who has a house by the sea. What a place to live on the Mediterranean. As the angel that had spoken to him went away, Cornelius called 2 of his household slaves and one of his military aides, who was a godly man. You mean there's more than one? There's more than one military man who is a God-fearer? There's more than one Roman Gentile who's a God-fearer? His household. Wow, that's crazy. He explained everything to them and sent them to Jaffa. The next day about noon, while they were still on their way and approached the city, Kepha, Peter, now we're going to jump over to Peter, went up onto the roof of the house to pray. Okay, if you live there, you understand there's flat spaces. That's why they put little fences, parapets on the roofs, because you can use it as like a room, or you can be out in the sun. It's like a patio, a deck, okay? It's an extension of the house. All right. It's flat. He began to feel hungry and wanted something to eat. But while they were preparing a meal, how did he meet Abraham? As a wanderer. What was Abraham? A wanderer. How did he meet Gideon? A warrior. How did he meet Joshua? A warrior. God will meet you. How about the day that my car was going to blow up and I had children in my car and I pulled out? How did I see the messengers? 3 cowboys. Because at that time, I don't know why, cowboy, you trusted cowboys, okay? I saw 3 cowboys. He meets you in a place that you understand and that is not fearful, okay? And trustworthy. I mean, there was utter peace. These were big dudes, okay? I told you before, chaps, spurs, I mean, the hats, they were cowboys. The trench coats, they were cowboys, okay? They even came out of smoke. I don't know, but they did, okay? And I had peace. 3 men, 1 woman. I had peace, okay? He's going to meet you in some way that you understand. Okay, so right now, Peter is hungry, right? So he's going to talk to him in a language that he will understand. Okay, let's go there. He began to feel hungry and wanted something to eat, but while they were preparing the meal, he fell into a trance in which he saw heaven opened and something that looked like a large sheet being lowered to the ground by its 4 corners. In it were all kinds of 4-footed animals, crawling creatures, and wild birds. Then a voice came to him. Get up, Kepha, slaughter and eat. But Kepha said, oh, no, no, sir, absolutely not, nothing doing. I have never put anything unclean, trife in my mouth. Is that what he says? Yeah, it is. The voice spoke to him a second time. Stop treating as unclean what God has made clean. This happened how many times? Who are we talking to? Peter. Why does Peter have to have things in 3s? I don't know.
Maybe he doesn't learn the first time.
Or the second. I don't know, but he does. Okay, and this is how God talks to Peter. And so, when it happens 3 times, Peter's like, okay, God's talking to me. He recognizes it. God's going to have a pattern with you. He's going to talk to you. Don't go